the process of reviewing the book Living in Your True Self that we started in the previous video, I'd like to dive into the chapters and I hope you join me and listen carefully. So the first chapter I'll be looking at is Why Am I Different? I know that the way you view your differences can be terrifying, and that depends on whether you're viewing it in a good way or in a bad way. For instance, in the previous video, I talked about my personal self with my family and how I viewed my differences in a bad way. So if you view yourself or your differences in a bad way, then you might want to read this book because it talks about why you are different. Let me use, for instance, let's use if everybody is if you're walking on the streets and everybody you come across are exactly the same way you are, like you guys have identical appearance, identical personalities, you're exactly the same, do you think the world would be an interesting place to live in? Can you ask yourself that? No, it will not. That is why God, knowing all of this, created us in our unique differences. So the fact that I am the way I am does not mean you have to be the way I am, and does not mean I have to be the way you are. So you have to understand that that is why you are different. But also the fact that you're different from someone else does not mean that you are unworthy, or does not mean that your potential is insufficient. I hope you're getting that. So this is what this book talks about. And let me come to the issue of teenagers, for instance. Let's use the issue of teenagers. I'm addressing this to parents now. When we come across a teenage girl, you feel like there is a certain age that a teenager gets to, and you start noticing some differences. For instance, they don't want you to talk to them anyhow, they don't want you to touch them anyhow, they don't want you to invade their privacy, they don't want you to do certain things, and they feel like, oh, no, and before you know it, they start putting some boundaries. Or when you comment in some kind of way, like maybe for instance, you're used to telling your daughter, oh, you're chubby, you're very fat, but it gets to a certain age and she's not liking that again. Like, she doesn't want you to say she's chubby or she's fat. Don't see it as her rebelling or not being the perfect kid. You have to understand that there are certain stages we get to, and we might not be proud of the differences we exhibit, and so we want to be different. We don't want people to even still tell us that we are different. So that's when the problem comes in. And I was talking, let me just go into a little bit of the book. The fact that you're different doesn't mean you're unworthy, and being different is absolutely normal. It is absolutely okay for you to be different from everyone else. It shows that you are you. It shows that you are special. It shows that you are unique in your own way and in your own self, and you don't have to struggle so hard to be someone else. I hope you're getting that. And I also talked about I don't want to be different. I know people, even though you're telling a teenage girl that, oh, you being different does not really matter, you're unique, they're still telling you, I don't even want that uniqueness at some stage in life, until they come to realize that they are different because they are different. They are telling you, I don't want to be different, I don't want to look the way I am, I want to look like my friend, I want to act like my friend, you understand? But you have to come to a level where you're able to tell them that you're different. Like the differences you exhibit from your peers does not mean that you are bad, or it doesn't mean that you are not special, or you are not lovable the way they are. And so we move into the tips of how you can be different. And let me also note this: if someone tell you you're different, then be different. Like, if someone is telling me I think that was how I was able to overcome my own identity crisis. Like, you're telling me I'm a different person, my dear, I will try to be different. I want to be noticed. Your differences is supposed to make you noticed from the rest of everyone else. It's supposed to set you apart. That's what being different is supposed to do to you. Like, you understand? It's supposed to make you special. It's supposed to separate you from the crowd. And so when someone say, you're so different, my dear, be different. Be different in the way you handle things, be different in your responsibility, be different in the way you approach situation. Just be different in a good way. I'm not talking about in a bad way. Just be different in every way you can. Try to be noticed. in your difference. And so don't let it be a big deal that you're different. Be different. And so we talked about tips of how to accept that you're different, because you are definitely different. And one of the things I talked about is learn about yourself. You see, I know a lot of people, they don't know themselves. And let me even ask you this question. If you are asked right now that, oh, can you tell me who you are? You're like, that's one of the simplest questions anybody can ask you. But deep within you, you definitely know that you don't know who you are. Let me use myself. I keep using myself as an example. Some years ago, before I wrote this book, I was having a conversation with someone, and then, the person was encouraging me and all of that, and then I was asked, do you even know who you are? In my mind, I was like, what's that? That's an insult. Like, I am me. I should know me better than anyone else. But when the question resonated with me after a while, I discovered that I could not really tell who I was than, oh, my name is Favor and I'm a student and all of that. And that's not me. There are a lot of people who their name is Favor. I hope you know, and there are a lot of people out there that they are students, they are all of that, they are everything I claim to be. But what separates me from the rest of those people is what defines me of who I truly am. So learn about yourself. A lot of us does not know about ourselves. I like to read something in this book. Learning about oneself is the most important subject you ever learn. I know some of us might be brilliant, smart, and all of that, but when it comes to learning about yourself, it can definitely be difficult, because you have to learn about the deep things that at times you don't even want someone else to know about. But that's the most important subject you will ever learn about after learning about Christ. But talking about knowing yourself, learning about yourself is the most important thing you will ever learn in your life. Your life is a broad subject that only you can fully understand if you only give yourself time to study yourself. Know what you want. The more you know about yourself, the better equipped you are to design a pattern of life that is unique to your differences, that is unique to who you are. That is why you have to learn about yourself. I talked about through learning about yourself, you'll be able to analyze who you are and how close you are to who you want to become. Only you know the picture you have in mind for yourself, the picture of who you want to be in your nearest future. And so when you know about yourself, you know how you can design a life way, a pattern, a path that will take you to where you want to get to in life. I hope you're getting that. So that is that about chapter 1. If you really want to know about what am I different, you have to get this book. So let's quickly move on to the next chapter, which is finding yourself. Most times we think we know who we are, but the funny thing is we don't. I was talking about that in the first chapter, but I think I dived into it a little bit in the second chapter. We don't. When you're asked who you are, you don't. You have to find yourself. And let me tell you, we are in a world where people want to define who you are for you. But let me briefly say this. The world is ready to define who you are in your place if you're not ready to do so. We live in a society where when you are no longer needed, when who they have designed you to be is no longer needed, then they look for something else. And so either they make you into someone else, or they leave you and pick someone else. I hope you understand that. So if you're not ready to define yourself, the world will define you. And that's why you have to find yourself. And also learn this. Who you turn out to be can positively or negatively affect the generation to come. It's like this. Our life is tied to one another. And so when you fail at something, you can automatically know that your children will have an impact of that failure if you fail to resolve it, or if you fail to correct it at the appropriate time. You can be sure that they will have, if not a major or a minor impact of how you have failed to do certain things. Which is why you have to find yourself and to avoid situations like that. And lastly, let me say this. Finding yourself is not accidental. It is an intentional process. It is an intentional act, and you have to be very intentional about it if you truly want to find yourself. And which is a major reason you have to get this book. If you know all what we've been discussing speaks to you in one way or the other. this book is definitely for you. And like I said, it is just 1,500 naira, and if you want to get it, you can just drop a message, just let me know in one way or the other, and you can have this book. And if it is not for you and you need it for someone, that's also something, and you can even use it as a gift for someone. So thank you for watching this video till the end. See you in the next review. Bye.